What exactly is the spiritual life? People generally think that spirituality is something like an ascetic or an austere life, which is generally led in seclusion. But it is not really so. But in reality, spirituality is only a refined form of religious life. In religious life, it is mostly practice. And in all these practices, the thoughtful element is invariably lacking. There is no introspection, examination, investigation or the like. These practices primarily rest upon our senses. We take some article with our hands, material articles. If it's a flower, we gently place the flowers at the altar, chanting some mantras. So you can say it's an activity, sensory and oral put together. Very rarely as part of religion, one exclusively employs the mind. Any mantra when chanted will be loudly chanted, and material offers or material things will be handled by the hand. So it is based upon a place, a particular time, a set of materials, a set of chantings, then different types of movements involving the ceremonial offer. So this is what religion is. But when you come to spirituality, the physical and the oral part are safely kept aside, and we exclusively employ the mind and the intelligence. In spirituality, there is no loud chanting normally, except as a help, as a precursory element. Otherwise, in spiritual practices, the mind exclusively is employed. A mantra or something relating to the supreme truth is contemplated upon in the way of preserving it in the mind, repeating it in the mind exclusively. It becomes then meditation. So meditation is an exclusive practice of the mind. Nothing else should be employed there, except that the body is there, either sitting or otherwise in a safe pose to enable you to employ the mind. Nothing else is there. Another aspect of spirituality is there are some fundamental truths, principles, values, perceptions, ideals and goals. The spiritual practitioner tries to reflect upon them, introspect over them, to find out what they are. He has heard them. For example, we say God is all-pervading. What is meant by the all-pervading God? To be pervading everywhere. Can God have a form? Form means limitation. It is a shape. So the entire body, when you look at it, you will find has got form at every point. So if God is all-pervading, He cannot have a form. He cannot have a shape. He is a kind of a presence. The only simile that we can think of with reference to God is the space. The space is endless, it is invisible, it is extremely subtle, it is not affected by anything. It interpenetrates the other elements like earth, water, air and the different forms of matter and energy. Something similar to that. But the difference between space and God is that space is inert. It doesn't have the capacity to think, understand, formulate, ideate. On the other hand, God is supreme intelligence. The right description about God will be that He is supreme intelligence. By a process of intelligencing alone, He has created the whole universe. When God created the world of matter and energy, He did not have matter and energy with Him. Nothing coexisted with Him. He alone was there. Then by virtue of His own sankalpa or its own process of intellection or intelligencing, all the things were made. So consciousness has got the power to create anything, to uncreate anything, and also to bring about transformation and changes in whatever is. Space doesn't have it. So though the pervading aspect is similar to space, there is a dissimilarity with space which consists in that supreme nature of intelligence. Imbued with the power of sankalpa, imagination or creative thinking. Now this is what God is. Now this is something that ordinarily people will not understand. So when one person becomes either mature or for any reason he feels, I have to grow, whatever practices I do are not sufficient, I would like to know what I do, whether my actions are becoming effective, whether the purpose is being fulfilled, I would like to know. The inquiry is the very nature of intelligence. As our stomach gets hungry and it calls for appeasement, the mind wants to think, the intelligence wants to understand, inquire into. One activity cannot be at the cost of another activity. So in spirituality you have a very beautiful integration of all the different levels of your personality. Our senses will be rightly, beautifully and benevolently employed for their respective activities. Our tongue also will speak beautifully and radiantly, which people would like to hear. Similarly, our mind will think more and more expansively. Our mind will comprehend and include greater and greater dimensions, not merely the family of 3 or 4. As I am a member of my family, the family is a member of the society, and the society itself they are denizens of the earth. The earth itself is a very small planet in the universe. So I am not merely a family member, I am a member of the whole universe. When the mind starts thinking like that, can you imagine the expansion it derives, it's imbued with? Similarly, the intelligence knows, and that knowledge is given over to the mind, so the mind's thinking and motivations become regulated and refined. Such a regulated mind starts guiding the senses, so the sensory activities also become very enriching to the world as a contribution and self-enriching to oneself. So in spirituality we are trying to become enriched every day, every hour with whatever we do and experience. Equally so we are enriching, or we are making an enriching contribution to the world. So it's a process of enrichment, elevation, expanse and enlightenment. Now all these are gained by virtue of our own personality being properly employed. So the entire focus becomes one's own personality, its different layers of interaction. This I thought all people should know, understand well. Everyone will be benefited by spiritual refinement and spiritual insight and elevation. Automatically in whatever an individual does, there will be an ornamentation, there will be an improvement, a betterment. Of course, spirituality leads you at the last stage towards a wholesome and a whole-time pursuit like what we are doing. We are actually not shunning anything. Instead of living in our own personal families, we have made a joint family where newer and newer members come. So I always describe our ashram to be a multiple household, if such an expression is acceptable. Many people get born here, one after the other. They grow, we welcome, our minds go on. We have a number of mental children. All of you have physical children born of your own loins. But I always say I have a number of Manasa Putras and Putris, and they are still continuing to be more and more. So it's always a life of expansion, a life of greater interaction, a life of world enrichment as also self-enrichment. Harihi Om Tats Jai Guru.